Aloha! What's up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Omens. Let me go ahead and just check the audio. Looks pretty good on my side. I'm going to start things off with a couple of viewer submissions. I want to thank everybody for going to my website and sharing your photos and pictures and videos and all the stuff that you guys have sent my way. Sometimes they make it to the episode. Sometimes I just keep them for myself. But we're going to start off with a viewer submission right there. This one's from Michael out of Steamboat Springs, and he shares this interesting video. Check this out. So you can see there's this cloud over here that's blocking the sunlight. Now watch this. Check this out. So it's blocking the sunlight, and it stretches all the way across the sky. Watch this. This is really interesting. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff on this particular episode. I'm going to save anything that is Trump related for the end, okay? And I'll explain why. So check this out. It goes all the way across the sky. Isn't that something? All right, let's see what this next one is. Also, this one, Michael shared this one with me too. I've been seeing a lot of videos like this where there's a fireball in the sky. Wonder if I could zoom into this. Let me see. No, I don't think I can. But you see this little red dot right here? I'm going to talk about these a little bit further into the presentation when we talk about transient luminal events. So you see that right there? A lot of people would look at that and they would say that's a UFO or something, but that's plasma. It's self-contained. It's self-contained plasma, and you'll start seeing, people are already seeing more and more of this in the skies as we continue on. And there it is, a big old red fireball. It's also known as a fireball. It's a ball of light up there in the heavens, in the sky. And a lot of times they'll move down towards the earth, but they follow the currents. Now you can see little sparks coming off of it and stuff. Check that out. That's a really good one. I really like this one. And more and more people are capturing stuff like this as we move forward in time. All right, let's see what we got next. Oh, this next one was sent to me by Timber Traveler, who watched my last Flintstones episode about the Flintstones being apocalypse survivors. And he noticed, he took a screenshot of the money that they use with the pyramid and the all-seeing eye there. Here's another version where you can see the pyramid and the all-seeing eye. And this is related to them being survivors and bloodline relatives to, you know, Freemasonic families and stuff. You guys have to forgive me. I'm a little bit under the weather today, so I'm sorry about that. But let's continue on. I'm still going to keep on rolling. Let's see. I'm going to take the viewer submissions down, and we're going to jump into the headlines. All right, let's see. Viewer submissions for POW. Okay, let me just double check the chat, make sure we're still good. Where is the chat? There it is. Boom. All right, cool. Looks like we're still good. All right, I don't see any issues. All right, cool. So let's continue on. We're going to start on this one. A rare stratospheric warming event has begun over the South Pole with unusually strong anomalies. So anytime I see anomalies, I'm looking at it through the lens of signs and omens and harbingers and what's happening in our world. This camera is like a little too high. There we go. All right. Sorry. But anyways, the South Pole. So the official story for this is that the South Pole, or Antarctica, has this weird anomaly here. You can see right above me where there's like this high pressure system, or there's all of this high pressure, right? So if we look up throughout this article, you'll see this. It's really interesting. So I'll look up pressure anomaly, and I'm just going to show you all the different places where it talks about pressure anomalies in this article. Below is the current pressure anomaly, and that's what it's called. It's called a pressure anomaly in the stratosphere over the South Pole. You can see the polar vortex and a strong high pressure anomaly developing. It goes on to talk about more pressure anomalies, and it's listed 12 different times as a pressure anomaly. Here you can see it actually splits off onto both sides. Now, I wish that they would put this on an azimuthal equidistant map. However, those are quickly becoming scarce. There's a website called nullschool.net, And they actually show you like the wind patterns and things like that in a live view. And they used to have different kinds of maps, and one of those included the azimuthal version, which is more of like a whenever you take the globe Earth and you flatten it out. But they took that down, and they never gave a reason why. And I've seen a lot of websites following suit. It's more and more difficult to get these types of things. I was looking for a chart of the North Atlantic Current, and on the azimuthal, I can't find it. So it's very hard to find these things. So when I look at these types of maps, I flatten it out to get a better perspective as to what it's talking about. But anyways, the whole pressure anomaly thing is related to the pressure buildup in our world and in our atmosphere, and that has a domino effect and implications for other things, especially extreme weather, where you'll have the high pressure systems that are anomalous in nature, and immediately after that it's an extreme low pressure system, which leads to extreme weather and record-setting hurricanes and tornadoes and things, strange weather in places it's never really been before. So keep an eye out for that. It's going to increase. And now I really want to talk about something that's hits more to home with me, something that's my favorite. Okay, this my favorite deal right here. This says astronaut photographs glowing orbs far below space station. So this is allegedly a picture that was taken from the ISS, and it's focusing down on the Earth. But if you take a look here at what's circled, it's this. You see that over there? I don't know how far I can go. I made myself a little bigger here. But you see these little red dots? Now this, they say, is lightning. So that's a flash, allegedly, of lightning that's lighting up the surrounding atmosphere. And this above it is of particular interest to me. Let's see if I could zoom in on that. Let's see. Not sure where it went here. Yeah, I don't know. Well, anyways. Man, where is it? Hold on, let me make it smaller. It's way too big. There it is. Okay, so here it is right here. And I'll make it bigger. Boom. There we go. You can see it right there now. All right, so these are called sprites. All right, and this is really what I wanted to bring to people's attention. I recently posted in my community section about these electromagnetic phenomenon. To most people, they're a phenomenon, and they're something that has only really recently come to light. This is what they look like closer up, right? These are sprites. They're called sprites. There's all this interesting, strange electromagnetic phenomenon that's newly discovered by the majority of mainstream population on Earth. Before 1989, people, if they heard stories about these in the sky, they dismissed it. The news would dismiss it. The scientific community at large would dismiss it. If people saw strange lights in the sky like this and other forms too, for the most part, they would call those people conspiracy theorists. They would say that that's not real. You're making it up, maybe, or whatnot. But if you look at these, and this is one of my favorite pictures that I've ever seen of sprites, and I've seen many, it looks like many things to different people, but based on your perception, you could see aliens, right? You could see beings in the sky, light beings with elongated heads, and even areas that look like it has eyes and mouth, and they're wearing these sort of maybe like these are their shoulders or a triangular suit or something, and then these are their legs or whatnot. These are also what I believe are called the covering angels or the cherubim. That's described by Ezekiel in the Old Testament, when he looked and he beheld and he saw these things coming from the north in an event, an historic event that was recorded by that particular prophet in the Bible, that I believe is one of these tempests, one of these world storms. Now, this is also really interesting because I just did a movie breakdown of the Dark Crystal. I don't know how many people caught that one. It's pretty good though. There are these creatures. You're probably familiar with the Skeksis and then the Mystics. But before they were the Skeksis and the Mystics and they were divided, they were one type of alien creature in that movie, and they were called the Urskeks or Urskeks. And this is what they look like originally. This is an artist's conception of it. As you can see, it bears resemblance, right? And they're basically a type of angelic beings. It bears a strong resemblance to the sprites that we see in our skies. And here's another image of some sprites. Let me make this one a little bigger too. And you can see whenever you zoom in on them. Now, this is under a weak electromagnetic field. I believe it's actually strengthening at this point in time, and it probably will with all of the release of the gases from the Earth and stuff until we hit the reset point. But as you can see, people could interpret that as, you know, heavenly beings that are standing up there in the sky or flying, or, you know, this could be interpreted in many different ways. Now, right now, these are known as transient phenomena, which means they're quickly passing. They're flashes of light. They don't tend to last for too long up in the sky, but whenever the atmosphere is electrically amplified in the time to come, and when it was electrically amplified long ago, during a time long forgotten, these would stay up there. These would have no reason to disappear. They would stay up there, they would move about, and they would become way more animated up there in the heavens and way more awe-inspiring. Here's another example of the Urskex. Just compare this one right here to what you see here, and you could see why I do. Hopefully you can see why I do truth in movies. Comparing the truth of the world that we live in and what we figured out to the fiction, the stories, the fantasy of our actual history that's been long forgotten. Who was that in the chat? Oh, Joshua. What's up, Joshua? He says he's like number 47. Thank you for liking the video. Fantastic to catch you live. Hey, thanks, Joshua. It's good to see you. All right, let's move on to this next one. Let's see. These are the Urskex. You see how like their heads are all branched out and stuff, that big elongated heads and stuff. Here's another one of these sprites, right? Now let's zoom in on this. You can see that they create a tree pattern too, right? Burning bushes, trees, things of that nature, that have been described in different ways. These are also jellyfish. There's jellyfish sprites. There's different forms. These are shapeshifters because it's plasma, and plasma can take many different shapes dependent upon the atmosphere that it's in, the wind conditions, the electromagnetic current and whatnot. But people see these up in the sky. Here's different examples. There's many kinds. Now we're focusing right now on this area right here, the sprites, right? But there's also the things called elves, which are the highest up in the sky, and then halos as well. Oftentimes the halos will appear right above the sprites. There's many pictures that are on the internet of people who have caught halos and sprites directly underneath them. Now, if the sprites have been interpreted as angels or angelic in nature, or divine beings or heavenly beings, and there's a halo above them, then this helps possibly to explain why, you know, the origin of the actual halo and why divine beings have a ring of light around their head. There's also ones called trolls. These little deals right here, right behind me. Let me go ahead and show you. Boom. Right behind me, you can see that they have blue beams of light. They call blue jets. A jet of light, a column of light, a pillar of light. And it shoots up. And the higher up it gets, it will branch out at the top, as I'll show you here in just a moment. So they have blue beams, halos, sprites, elves, trolls. Why do you suppose? I mean, I've got my own inclinations. Why do you suppose they would name these things after these fantasy creatures, right? Probably because there's truth to it. Now, here's something that's very interesting. This is a website. I highly recommend checking it out if you're interested in viewing many pictures of these transient luminescent, what are they called? Sorry, I have a crazy headache right now. Transient luminescent phenomenon or something like that. Anyways, it's called Spritacular. No, I'm sorry, Spritacular. Spritacular. Spritacular.org. If you go there, this is a website that was created by the governments, by NASA, I believe, if I read that correctly, because they want the help of you, of all of the people in the world, to start recording these phenomenon and to post them on this website, the world across. Now, I've got my own theories about many different things here on my channel, but one of these is that NASA is keeping her eyes on the skies. NASA is keeping their eyes on the skies, and I feel like the top echelon, the top elite might know about the things that I'm talking about, the plasma apocalypse, the cyclical nature of these things, and these are going to show up more and more and more. They should, if the conditions are the way that I think they are, they should show up more, be seen by more people, show up in different forms, in different ways. Look at all these different versions of this. Let me make this bigger so you guys can see it better. All right, so this is as big as I can make it, but as you can see, there are many. Hold on, my computer's like, why isn't it moving? Oh, it's unresponsive. Oh snap. Okay. I'm not doing that. It's my computer did that by itself. I don't know what's going on. Hold on, let me get back here. Ah, man. So let's see. Join the chase of transient luminous events, TLEs, from the ground. Engage with the global community of observers, and contribute your observations of TLEs for NASA science. So this is so interesting. They want you to work for them for free. I think that's hilarious. Let me make that smaller. That's too big. All right, so here's some examples, right? And there's like hundreds of these. And they make interesting different shapes up there in the skies. I don't want to get started. Hold on. Man, I had it all set up. I'm sorry about that. Let me see. Oh, there's gallery at the top. So I just click on gallery. So if you click on gallery, you can actually go through and you can look at hundreds of these. At the bottom, you just click load more and it doesn't stop. It looks like fireworks in the sky that are just frozen in place, like nature's fireworks. One of the things that's most notable about these sprites is that if you study plasma physics, there's something called a Z-pinch, which is where the magnetics that are created from the electricity within the plasma, it folds in on itself, or it pulls in at a certain place right in the middle. So on one half of the sprite, it'll branch up and branch outward. On the other half, it'll branch downward. It looks like it's going both up and down. In ancient times, it was interpreted as wings that go up and wings that go down, and it was shown in many different ways. Yes. So I did a video about this, about the cherubim. Look at all these different ones. There's really good ones that people are posting across the world. I'm not going to show all of them. There's like hundreds. But let's check out another example here. The blue jets. Now, these are blue beams of light. This exact same as what I've been talking about here on my channel. When I talk about, just to recap, there will come a time, and there has already been a time in our forgotten past, when terrestrial beams of light shoot upward into the heavens, creating pillars and columns that stay. These are not transient, the ones I'm discussing. But imagine if this was, right? This is a photograph, and you can see under a weak electrical field compared to when it becomes strong and when it was strong, this branches out relatively quickly. But under a stronger electrical field, this will go all the way up, and then once it gets closer to the sky, it branches out and it spreads its wings. I think I have some more pictures here. This is a really good one. Somebody took this from an airplane cabin. You see that? It's not actually hitting the airplane. It just, you can't see the other side of it right there. But this is the blue jet. This is what happens is the bottom side of this cloud is negatively charged, right? And that's where we get lightning, because that negative charge builds up and then it reaches down and it wants to ground itself to the earth, creating a circuit between the negative and the positive. But on the top side of these clouds is a positive charge, and it will reach up higher up into the atmosphere, and it can throw up reverse lightning, basically, is what this is. It's also thunderbolts of the gods and things like that. But if you look at it at the top, it spreads its wings like a phoenix. It's oftentimes you can see these are colored, the traditional colors of how phoenixes were described. They were described as being multicolored birds, mostly red with red wings and whatnot, and then purple down towards the bottom and stuff. If you look up descriptions of phoenixes. And then, of course, we have dots, ball lightning, basically, is what it is. Okay. Now, I'm not saying every little blinking dot in the sky or every little light that you see in the sky is this, but I am saying these are included, okay? Oftentimes, and more these days, people are capturing videos of balls of plasma. Hold on, did I give a shout out to that last one? Oh, that was Anne-Marie Penton, my bad. Hey, what's up, Anne-Marie Penton? She says, I love Omens, I love your work. Thank you for everything you do. That's very kind, thank you. I'm glad I could catch you live. Glad your second book is finally out. Keep going. Thank you so much. All right, so back to these little dots. People see these and they think they're like a fleet of UFOs or whatever. If you watch them, you know, they're moving about. They're following currents, you know, air currents and electrical currents, electromagnetic currents up there in the atmosphere. And it's plasma, it's gases that are being activated, charged, ionized. Up there in the heavens, and they have the ability to create their own little fields that keep them contained. They're balls of light quite often, and they'll, you know, they can leave little streaks and stuff. They can send off electrical sparks. These are fireballs, and I'm going to show you a video, a news report of a huge one that just passed over New York City, over Manhattan. We'll check that out in a minute, but keep this in mind. Consider this whenever, you know, especially whenever surfing the internet, social media, and people are posting all over the place, and it's almost always like, oh, look at that one, it's got a propulsion system, look at it. It's like they attribute this to being, it's like they insist that's a light in the sky. You know what I mean? I mean, unless it's obviously, you know, a close-up of something that's metallic, you know, has parts and stuff like that, then I could say, okay, you know, maybe it does have a propulsion system, or maybe it is a craft. A craft is something that's been crafted. It's something that's been made by somebody. There's no evidence, just going off of this alone as an example, okay? And there's exceptions, but there's no evidence for a craft of any kind in this type of a video, right? This is just a video I pulled, an image from a video. But you get my point, right? It's a part of our real world that there are lights in the sky. There's different types of luminaries. You know, there's the main ones, there's the heavenly ones that we're aware of, the sun, the moon, and the stars. But then there's also these. These are local luminaries. This is given off by the earth. And within the TLEs, I forgot what these are called. Pixies? I think they call these pixies. I don't have it in here, but if you look it up under the TLEs, it says these are pixies. And oftentimes these will blink. They'll turn on, they'll turn off. They can move at 90-degree angles. They can change direction instantly. It doesn't mean that it's like advanced alien technology. And I'm not dismissing that those things could exist. I'm just saying seems pretty reasonable that we should consider light, like that it's plasma, that it's electricity. All right, here's another example too. I did a really good compilation. I think it's in my Plasma Apocalypse playlist of ball lightning examples. Here's another example, and these move about in formations, because that's what electricity does. Is it creates shapes. It moves according to shapes, and based on the frequency, that's the shape it will create or follow. Okay, so there's electrical fields that you can't see, or electromagnetic fields you can't see, and they're following those, as well as probably the wind and other things too, which are also intertwined, basically. And they'll create shapes. They'll stay a certain distance from one another. They'll be repulsed by another, or attracted to one another, etc. And you can see these in the sky. And if it looks like a round, gigantic ball of light, that's probably what it is. Now, I'm not trying to convince anyone. I'm not saying anybody's wrong or anyone's perspective is wrong. I'm just sharing mine. I'm saying I feel it's wise for me personally to consider plasma physics, to consider electricity in a world that is charged by electricity and run on the Earth's electromagnetic fields, instead of just jumping to conclusions that that's a ship and that's a ship and there's little aliens on that one and that one and that one and that one. It's fun, but you know, there might be more possibilities out there. Now, this one says rising seas wiped out an entire U.S. species for the first time. Scientists, whoever they are, say it's a sign of things to come. You know what? I just wanted to point this out. It's not for the first time. Okay, they say stuff like this. Rising seas wiped out an entire U.S. species for the first time. For the first time. The world was flooded, may I remind you. Who was that in the chat? Oh, Charles Thomas just joined the Good Vibe Tribe. Hey, welcome, Charles. High five. Good to see you. Listen, they say stuff like this all the time. For the first time, man, stop. Like, they keep saying stuff like that. They just completely disregard ancient history. Oh, it's the first time this has ever happened or whatever. It's like, dude, you're not cross-referencing. You're not checking your records. The entire world was flooded. The oceans rose, so to speak, and obliterated, like, all life on Earth for the most part. Anyways, I just want to point that out. This next one's kind of interesting. Eyeball Planet was spied by a James Webb Telescope. Okay. And it might be habitable. Okay, I'm not saying I don't give this any credibility as far as like planets way out there and going past the dome and all that stuff. But what I do want to talk about is the symbolism that exists here, right? So I do talk about an eye in the sky, which is a part of the firmament, which I believe there's a firmament and a dome above the world. I believe it's made out of ice so far. You know, that's what I'm leaning towards. And at the apex of that dome, of that upside down bowl over our world, is another bowl, but it's inverted. It's a right side up bowl that faces downward towards us. We see the bottom of it. And at times, every other cycle, it's visible in the sky. It's not visible during this cycle right now, but whenever the electromagnetic field reverses and it's complete, we will probably likely see this once again. People will see the all-seeing eye in the sky. They'll see... Some people may interpret it as other things. Some people will see Nibiru. Some people will see Medusa's head or Kronos or whatever. People see it in different ways. But what's of particular interest about this is it says the exoplanet may be completely covered in ice. So it's an ice eyeball, which is what I think that is up there. It's an ice eyeball. And so I don't think that they found this far away or anything. I think that this is the truth. That's either purposefully leaked, I don't know, I can't say, or people are just picking up on it through their creativity. I feel like those who use their creative side and really exercise their creative sides, that they just naturally tap into ancient truths. So even people like this, you know, they're allowed a certain creativity. You know, let's just say that they're like told to lie to the people. Well, their lie, they have to make it up, which requires creativity. So even in their lies, the truth is to be found. At least, you know, that's the way I like to look at it. All right, next up. Here's some garbage. Earth from space. Gravity waves spark a pair of perfect cloud ripples above uninhabited islands. Let me show you this. So they're saying, I've seen clouds like this, you know, my whole life. They're saying that this is caused by gravity. Now, a pair of perfectly aligned wave clouds were spotted above the Crozet Islands last year in the Southern Ocean. Here's their explanation. I read this whole article, and they're saying in the areas where there's missing clouds, gravity's real strong right there, so it pulled those clouds down. It's like, it's laughable. It's so ridiculous to me. It can't have anything to do with electromagnetic fields or ley lines or dragon lines or whatnot, or wind patterns or whatever. No, it's gravity waves. That's crazy too. That like gravity's moving in these little tiny waves that are that big or whatever, instead of just being uniform all 360 degrees around. I don't buy it. I don't believe in it anyways. This one says, why melting ice sheets are making our days longer. This is their new deal now. Remember last year or earlier this year, we were pulling up articles where they're saying the days are getting shorter. Why is the Earth spinning faster? Shortest day ever on record. The days are getting shorter. And then they switched it up, and now they're saying, oh no, it's the melting ice sheets. Let me show you the picture that they included with this article. There you go. The melting ice sheets. So here's what they say. I'm just going to leave this up for a second because it's so stupid. Now you guys can have something to laugh at. They say that the polar ice caps, whatever, they're melting, and all that water is, because the earth is spinning, then the water, all that melted water goes out to the equator. And then so it's like a ballerina on the ice, and she puts her arms out and she slows down. I get the concept, but that's dumb. Okay? The water doesn't rush out to the equator. It's all level everywhere. Okay? Water just, it'll stay the same amount. I mean, it won't stay the same amount. Like it's not going to bulge out on the sides. Okay? I know they want you to believe that the earth is bulging out on the sides or whatever at the equator. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Otherwise, all of the ocean would be at the equator. I mean, it's just common sense. I mean, it's actually uncommon sense these days. Look at this though. Right? Have you guys seen this? This is a video. I don't have the video right now, but this is like, they have like a GIF video of the moon like passing in front of the earth. Look at this. Can I zoom in on this? Check this out. That's just, it doesn't let me like make it any bigger. But if you look closely, you can actually see that there's like chromatic aberration right here. There's like a green line between the, and then they try to explain all this away and stuff. It's just, this is the dumbest, stupidest stuff I've ever seen. It's trickery. To me, personally, it's trickery. Ooh, man, my green screen showing. Bam. Oh, there we go. All right, let's move on to this next one here. Why is the earth spinning? Oh, I already did that one. Let's move on to this other next one. Sorry, not my prob. Hey, welcome to my channel. Space hurricanes churn at both of the earth's magnetic poles. Space hurricanes. I don't know if they invent all kinds of crap in space these days. Remember the good old days when space was a vacuum and there wasn't weather in space? Do you remember those days? That was not too long ago, I hope, right? I mean, I know the days are passing faster now, but I'm from another time, okay? I'm from another time. A time when space was a vacuum and there weren't winds in space, there was no hurricanes, there was all this crazy, there were definitely not flying cryogenic ice fucking comets, excuse my language, sorry. There was not ice comets at all. That was not a thing when I was growing up. Sometimes I wonder if they just, if they're like, man, the people, I wonder if they place bets. That's what I really wonder. I wonder if the elites are out there and they're like, yep, the sheep are ready for the slaughter. The cattle are dumbed down. And the other ones are like, yeah, how dumb do you think they are now? And they're like, man, I could tell them, and they just make up some garbage. I could tell them this, and they just make up some garbage. They'll be like, no way, I'll bet you $6 trillion that there's no way they would buy that. And then just they put it out there, and they watch the reactions. I'll bet you anything. I could put a completely demented, Alzheimer's patient as their president, and they would love it. Like, somebody who is clearly on the verge of, you know what I mean? Like, and I'll bet you they would embrace him. I feel like these are bets. I mean, maybe not, but what else do they do for fun? All right, let's see this next one. Could people turn Mars into another Earth? No, I'm telling you right now, because Mars is a luminary. It's not a place you can land on. It's a light in the sky. The funeral parade. Hey, I like that one. That's cool. Welcome to my channel. Could people turn Mars into another Earth? No, you cannot, because Mars is a light and Earth is a solid object. Here's what it would take to transform its barren landscape into a life-friendly world. Listen, you need to transform Earth first, idiots. Sorry, I don't want to be too negative. Okay, you need to transform yourself before you go trying to transform some other world. Okay, most of the people in this world are, damn, they need transformed. I'm telling you that right now. But anyway, and they will be. I'm telling you that too. Okay, go check out some of my videos about mutants and how mutant tribes the world across existed, and they're documented. It's going to happen again. People are going to mutate. Okay, I'm just letting you know. Man, it's insane. Anyways, let me get back to my point. Oh, my point. Yeah, this is all symbolic of the world that we're going to go into. It's not Mars is going to turn into Earth. Earth is going to turn into Mars. Okay, this is like the bottom of the ocean basically right here. All of that blue beam energy of ionized oxygen shoots up, fills the atmosphere, and it oxidizes the dirt and the dust and the mud and whatnot, and it turns it all red. That's where all that red clay comes from. That's where the stories of red dust the world across comes from. It's from oxygen in influx. In academics, they refer to this as the oxidation event, I believe. But yeah, could people turn Mars into another Earth? Yeah, no. People, man, they're barely making robots. They're not gonna change another planet and none of that. Okay, that's not gonna happen. I could slam on this one more, but let's continue on. Unraveling the mystery of the 77 beached whales in Orkney. Experts. I always want to puke when I hear that word. Experts revealed the devastating chain of events that could have sparked the biggest mass stranding in Britain for a century. So what's this all about? These whales. This is just one example. Please keep that in mind. Okay, this is happening all over the world right now, and it's been happening. The more the electromagnetics of this world goes into flux, which it's doing, as evident by like the North Pole shifting and moving, or the North Magnetic Pole or whatever, and many other things too. Animals that use sonar, animals that are tuned into the electromagnetic field, animals that listen to nature are becoming confused because they depend on electromagnetic currents. Dolphins, sea lions, whales, sharks, all these things, they're being beached. And if you read the article, any of these articles, you can pull up any of these and try to get to the meat of why did this happen. Every single time, they don't know. They're guessing. I will tell you exactly why this happens. The electromagnetic current that they were following to try to get where they were going went into flux. It's just like if you're driving, imagine these were all cars. All these, what are these? Whales? Imagine all these whales are cars. Imagine instead that they're Teslas. Okay, you're not driving it. You're set it to autopilot. And let's say we had this Carrington event type situation, and it messed up all the GPS, and all these people drove into the ocean. And they let's just say that they didn't have the ability to turn it themselves or whatever. Like, this is what that is. It's their GPS that's gone into flux. They got the wrong directions. They're headed in the wrong way. But in their mind, they see that they're going the right way. Okay? Like the signals are interpreted as it's a safe path. Go for it. And they're not suicidal. Get the hell out of here. Okay. They're not depressed or anything. I mean, I would understand if they were, because the world's so crazy. But they got wrong directions from the Earth. The Earth is in flux. Okay, this is the electromagnetic field. This is happening everywhere. And I'm telling you also, there will come a time when flocks of birds, so many it will darken the skies, will all be traveling in different directions, and it's going to lead up to all of the animals, or many of the animals, going towards a safe place before the storm. They know to hide when there's an apocalyptic event. When there's a worldwide cataclysms, it's built into their DNA and some of ours as well. Okay? They feel it. They sense it. They hear it, they know it, and they are also drawn to a safe place, which is the essence of many of your world's religions. So yeah, you'll see mass migrations. I mean, if you pay attention, you're already starting to see stuff like that. All right, let's move on. What's this? Algae blooms. Algae? I don't know. Algae blooms. Wreaking havoc on New York's swimming lakes. Here's what's being done to fix the problem. Yeah, let's check this out. Let's check this video out. Now, hold on. Do I want to say anything before I share this? Algae bloom. This is a huge omen. This is one of my favorite omens because people are like, hey, what omens should I look for? There's tiny omens, okay? I mean, you could see an omen in a grain of sand if you pay attention. But there's worldwide huge, humongous, gigantic red flags that are being waved right now. And we've been warned. There's echoes traveling from the past to the present warning us of things like this. This is a small scale example of things that are happening the world across right now. The oceans are no longer blue. The oceans are green, mostly. Okay, they're bluish green and green. And there's parts of them that are red. They're going to turn red. Now check this out. Watch this.
Popular swimming lakes in Rockland and Westchester counties are also shut down because of unsafe levels of algae. These blooms of blue-green algae are an increasing problem. As CBS 2's Tony Aiello reports, there's a push for the state to do more about this disruption to summer fun.
Talk about a summer bummer.
Okay, so they put signs up, harmful algae blooms. They call those HABs. And you notice how green the water was, right? One of the reasons this happens is because the water heats up, right? The sun's heating up right now, I believe. And it's local, it's close, it's not super far away. And as it does that, daytime heats up. We get record-breaking heat. The water absorbs heat better than land does. So the water is absorbing all of that heat, which releases oxygen, which means that fish and other things that have gills, they'll start dying off. Their bodies rot. These conditions are perfect for algae and other microorganisms to grow and to proliferate. And they do. And they change the water in green because there's so many of them. But when it gets too bright, they have a defense mechanism where they turn red. This is red tide. Now, listen to what he says.
Lake Welch Beach in Rockland County, with room for 9,000 sun seekers, closed.
A perfect summer beach day with acres of sand and no one here to enjoy it.
Yeah, get used to that. There's going to be a lot of that in the near future. Hold on. I want to see that sign. I like reading the signs, right? Beach closed. Harmful blue-green algae blooms. Stay out of the water. Contact can make people and animals sick. Now, let me teach you a secret. You don't have to just have direct contact with it. It releases the same toxins up into the air. So imagine, as it says in the Bible, that a third of the world's oceans, this happens to it, and it becomes a red tide for at least a third of the world's oceans. We reach a tipping point. People are going to get sick the world across, especially with pneumonia, other sicknesses as well. But you're going to have a respiratory disease and other things too. This can actually irritate the skin, and I think it can possibly cause blisters and stuff. But this is going to happen. Okay, you're on the edge of history. You're on the edge of the future right now, looking at prophecy in motion. Check this out.
A perfect summer beach day with acres of sand and no one here to enjoy it.
These pictures from Wednesday showed the disgusting algal bloom that prompted the closure of the 220-acre lake.
Yeah, well, it's going to turn red. I'm telling you, like all these, though, it's going to be red tide the world across. It looks like paint.
And it's actually caused by cyanobacteria when you get this kind of green, milky condition in the water.
Now, look, do yourself a favor if you're interested in research like I am. If you'd like, look up and study cyanobacteria to understand more about this, so you can understand how it works and what conditions lessen it or amplify it, and start asking yourself what the implications to these things are. It's a great study tool to always ask what are the implications, even if it's a hypothesis. Let's suppose my hypothesis is correct. What other dominoes would that knock over?
They can produce a toxin, and we want to keep people and pets away from that toxin.
Not far away at Mohegan Lake, another closure.
Okay, so a blue-green algae bloom that can make you sick. Keep animals and people out of the water. Don't drink the water. Rinse and clean if you go into the water. If you have symptoms. Oh, pay attention to these symptoms too. These are going to be the symptoms of the next pandemic. Promise. Check this out. Consider medical attention if you have symptoms such as nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, skin, eye or throat irritation, allergic reactions, breathing difficulties. Report your symptoms, blah, blah, blah.
Due to so-called HAB, harmful algal bloom. And look what algae has done to the pond at Gedney Park in Chappaqua, where thousands of...
Look at that. Get used to that. You're gonna see a bunch of that. Listen, this is one example. This is in New York. Lots of stuff's going on in New York right now. This is in New York, but I'm sure that this is happening in thousands upon thousands of places the world across. Oftentimes what they show you in the news and the media is just a small little piece of what's happening around the whole
Fish have died.
world.
You sit close to the water, it doesn't smell good.
Just so bad we can't stand there too long.
But you're seeing it in Long Island, you're seeing it in upstate, and it's really having a...
Yeah, you'll especially see this in stagnant water too. So this is also symbolic for like the metaphor of life, to keep going, to keep growing, to keep moving forward, to keep learning, and that represents moving water, okay, like a river or a stream. But in where the water is more still, this is why, like, when this happens in the ocean, you see it a lot towards the shoreline, because that water kind of stays in the same area, you know, compared to like out there in where all the currents and stuff are.
Direct impact on our residents and on our tourists too.
Assemblyman Matt Slater wants New York to classify harmful algal bloom as a water contaminant. That would unlock funding for sewer improvements and...
Look, they're going to try to fix this. You can only fix your little local area so much. This is going to be a worldwide
mitigation
problem.
efforts.
We need the funding from New York to finally get into the water and start fixing these problems.
At Lake Welch, these solar panels power an ultrasound unit that can reduce algal bloom.
Ah, now that's interesting. Ultrasonic waves can reduce algal blooms, right? So one, much of these waters will get sucked up when the atmosphere depressurizes. So you know that's gonna take care of that problem. Earth is gonna get rid of this problem for us, because you might ask, like, how do we live in that future with the oceans are all poisonous? Well, the poison oceans get removed. Okay, most of it, right, gets sucked up into the atmosphere and it leaves this world. It'll be reintroduced later on, but that'll be fresh water. That'll be wonderful water. The oceans will come back, okay, but they're not going to come back all poisonous. This is how they leave, okay. This is one of the reasons why we need the apocalypse to happen, in my opinion. Oh, ultrasonic waves too, right? So the Earth can produce ultrasonic waves. All right, just wait till it starts. There's worldwide earthquakes and there's beams of light shooting through, and there's going to be a lot of ultrasonic waves. This is a cleansing event, okay? I'm not with all the doom and gloom stuff. I get it, but I see the positive side. I'm an apocalyptimist. I love that word, apocalyptimist. Okay, looking at why this is necessary, why it's beneficial. What's the good news? There's always good news. You know what I mean? There's always a good side to things. So what's the good news to the apocalypse? It's a necessary event. It's not a necessary evil. I mean, I understand why people would see it as evil, because a bunch of people die. But a bunch of insects die when you clean your house, and a bunch of bacteria dies whenever you're, cleaning your bathroom or whatever. Like that's a part of the cleansing process. Oh, Ken, what's up, Ken? Hey, thanks for your donation in the chat. Good to see you, Ken. Ken Albert.
The lake also was treated this week with copper sulfate.
Oh, that's a good idea. I'd dump a bunch of copper sulfate into it. Copper sulfate will make the water more acidic, just so you know.
Kills the algae, or
it kills the algae. There you go.
the bacteria in this case, and clears the water. But we have to go through a testing process to make sure that the lake is safe.
Look, this is nature doing this. Like, nature doesn't want you to clean it up. Okay? Don't do that. Don't go against the current. Don't go against nature. All right, I think that was pretty much the end of that little video. Oh, New York. Speaking of New York, a meteor may be responsible for a loud boom heard in Staten Island, Brooklyn, and Queens. Man, that's just, I'm gonna get off topic here, but what a cool place. I've been there. Well, I've been to Manhattan, just as a tourist, and it's so much fun. Such interesting depth to that place, man. It's like there's a lot there. Anyways, let's check out this loud boom this news story here.
Oh, so for something completely different. Did you hear it? Yeah.
And now for something completely different. He ripped that off Monty Python so bad, didn't he? Ken, thanks again. Hey, thanks again, Ken. Right on, you're the best. All right, let me see what he says here.
A loud noise in our area today, and it turns out.
Can I also say this? Okay, I just want to point this out. Once you see this, it'll be difficult for you to watch the news ever again. Look at their black part of their eyes when they're talking, and you'll remember that they're not making this up on the spot. You'll remember that they're not improvising. You'll remember that they're not like they independently investigated this story and now they're like off, from their memory bringing it to you. They're looking at words that are a certain distance away so that it doesn't look like they're moving their eyes too much. But if you look closely, you can see they're like, and in other news, it looks like the fireball ripped across the sky in New York City today. And it really helps to like pull off a layer of that magic spell that they're trying to cast on people. All right, let me rewind this.
Oh, so for something completely different. Did you hear it? Yeah, a loud noise in our area.
Hold on,
today, and it turns out.
Listen, I promise you, I'm going to interrupt this dude a lot. I'm sure there's 40 other newscasters that said the same thing. Did you hear it? Because that's on the teleprompter. I can see it in my mind. I don't even have to see the teleprompter. Okay, it's like they emphasize certain words, and they all will say this. Did you hear it? He doesn't care if you heard it. Okay, this is not him talking. This is a spell. Okay, it's the teleprompter.
It might have come from a meteor passing by.
Now, I'll also tell you this: when they screw up on the teleprompter, that's when they improvise, and when they improvise is usually when they also make it worse.
Eyewitness News reporter Kristen Thorne in the newsroom with late-breaking details on the loud sound heard in several places today. Chris.
Okay, time out. What is a meteor? He said it's a meteor passing by. Let's look that up. I'm just going to look it up real quick. Meteor. Oh, there's a picture of a rock. A small body of matter, it's a rock, from outer space that enters the Earth's atmosphere, becoming incandescent as a result of friction. Okay, friction. Friction against nothing, like the air. And appearing as a streak of light. It's a rock, but it looks like light. I promise, though, it's a rock. Okay, so keep that in mind. They're saying a meteor flew over Manhattan. A giant meteor. That's a rock from space. Listen to how fast they say it was going, okay? Go ahead.
Bill, these flurry of reports came in shortly before.
I hate the tone of these people's voice. Like, it gives me a headache. I don't like it. Like, it's patronizing. It's a tone that makes you feel like a child.
Noon today, people were reporting seeing a fireball in the sky and hearing booms, and now we're learning from
a fireball, light. They didn't see a rock in the sky or anything like that.
From NASA Meteor Watch is saying that they believe this was indeed a meteor that was first sighted in Upper Bay, headed east, and then descended at a steep angle of just 18 degrees, vertical, passing over the Statue of Liberty.
She doesn't know what that means. She's just reading it. You can see her really trying to like not stumble on these words. Hold on, let's watch that again. That's funny. I like it. Let me rewind this lady. All right, let's see.
In Upper Bay, headed. I believe this was indeed a meteor that was first sighted in Upper Bay, headed east, and then descended at a steep angle of just 18 degrees, vertical, passing over the statue.
I'll explain what that means since she has no idea, okay? It means instead of a rock falling from space and hitting the ground like at a 90-degree angle or anywhere near that, it was almost going parallel to the surface, okay? 18 degrees.
Statue of Liberty before disintegrating 29 miles
Disintegrating! Where's the rock? It disintegrated. Like, it's gone. It disappeared. That's basic. That's just like a fancy way of saying it disappeared. Okay, the rock, the space rock. Now, how fast was it going? Hold on, I missed that. I'm too busy making fun of her.
Angle of just 18 degrees, vertical, passing over the Statue of Liberty before disintegrating 29 miles above Midtown. NASA said there also was some military activity happening at the same time of all of this, and so that may account for some of the shaking or the boom that residents felt.
No, stop. What? You see how they just glossed over that? Everyone felt a boom and a shaking. This is exactly what happened in Tunguska in the Siberian forest. I don't know, 100 years ago. Tunguska, if you don't know what it is, a huge blast from the sky that blew all these trees down in the Siberian forest. Graham, what's up, Graham? You just got slimed, Graham. Now, Tunguska is a giant ball of plasma, or a giant ball of gases, really, that excited, and it can blow up, okay? They can blow up. They can explode, as gas can do. I forgot what I was saying. Hold on, let me go back here.
Time of all of this, and so that may account for some of the shaking or the boom.
Yeah, the military. So they're like, oh yeah, that boom, that had nothing to do with the meteor. That was like the military. Well, still, even that would beg questions. The hell's the military doing? You know, booming and all that stuff. Well, they're just practicing. They're protecting us. Oh, I hate that. I hate all that stuff. Anyways.
Residents felt. There is a man that was working in New Jersey when this all happened, and he felt this, or actually saw this meteor come across his window as he was working. This is video of it right now. This is Judah Bergman, and you can. Now,
of all the 20 sightings, this is like the only one they really keep showing, and it's not even a sighting. It's just some guy in his office. Judah Bergman, this guy with the yarmulke right there. This is the only person they really show.
See him just jump up and fly over and go, what was that? What's interesting is that very few people like Judah actually saw this.
Hold on, let me explain something. The reason it doesn't go straight down into the ground is, one, it's not a rock. Okay, it's gas. It's ionized gas. It's plasma. It runs across the land because it's following the currents. It's following the electromagnetic current in the air. It's hovering over the land. It can get lower and lower and lower depending upon many factors or whatnot. But it seems that if it gets too low and there's different gases involved, or there's certain electrical currents or whatever, it can explode.
This meteor, most of the people heard this sound, which may not have actually been connected to it, but take a listen to what people had to say.
Initially, if it came from a construction site nearby, or there was a car crash or something to that effect, but I've never seen either a dog, a golden retriever, and a cat, both of which the golden retriever jumped out of his skin and the cat just darted under the sofa.
Yeah, because they're intelligent. Like, I told you, the animals know when there's a change, when there's a disturbance in the force. You could say that.
It was long and really, really fast.
It was long and fast. Okay, it's not a rock. And by the way, if you watch videos of these meteors, these fireballs, the ones that are described as fireballs, they slow down. They're slowing down, and I swear to God, man, I get so many comments. People, all these pseudo-intellectuals are like, it's called friction. It's hitting the atmosphere and it's slowing it down. Bro, they say this thing's traveling at like 40,000 miles an hour or something. I don't know. Air is not going to slow it down that goddamn much. Okay, it's not going to do that. And as a matter of fact, if it was a rock that big or metal or whatever from space and it's traveling that fast. I missed how fast they said this was going. If it's going that fast, it's going to go through the earth. It's going to punch a hole through the earth, okay?
Looked like a flaming long rod or something, like on
fire. A flaming long rod. This has been described in ancient times. In, news stories that have been glossed over and just thrown into the trash by the Ministry of Truth in good old 1984.
And flying through the sky. It was a little interesting to me that it was almost horizontal. Like I think of meteors, I think like they go straight into the ground.
Yeah, see? There he is, using the old noggin.
And this one looked like it still had some ways to go.
So, right. It's interesting. That means that might be as far as he goes with that. But I'm proud of him. At least he pointed out that's strange.
Well, look, we're learning from NASA that it did actually come down, thankfully, 29 miles.
Now you see his was flat. Hers was like, thankfully it did come down. Thankfully it didn't just keep flying around in the sky, because that would be weird if it's a rock.
Above Midtown and disintegrated, so no meteorites came.
Totally disintegrated. The rock just disappeared. What is that?
From it.
Let's look up the definition of disintegrate, shall we? Disintegrate, define, boom, whatever. All right, disintegrate. Break up into small parts, typically as a result of impact or decay, blah, blah, blah. Undergo disintegration at a subatomic level. Anyways, yeah, there's no rock. There's no evidence left over because it's a ball of fire. It's a ball of flame. All right.
You know, it's not uncommon, meteorologists say, to see meteors at this time of the year.
It is uncommon for a gigantic ball of fire to explode over New York City. Yeah, I don't even want to know what's happening there. All right, let's talk about this. This is what everyone's been waiting for. Now, let me preface what I'm about to say. All right? Let me preface. I'm not going to talk about any of this stuff with the exception of this. Okay, I just want to point out, I want to use this picture. I'm going to talk about this particular picture. But as with prior events on our timeline, there are certain points in that timeline where the Ministry of Truth from 1984 shreds those things. They put them into a shredder and they didn't happen, they didn't exist, and then they rewrite the article or history. Okay? And I don't want to be the main character in 1984 that figuratively, symbolically, or quite actually gets taken away. All right? I'm not saying anything's going to happen. I'm just basically I want to be able to continue doing what I'm doing. All right? And I feel very strongly that there's a lot behind this. Okay? A lot. And let me put a different picture up while I say this. Okay. It sucks. I hate this. I hate that I put a picture of the whales up right now. Okay? But this should be a huge eye-opener to people. This is why I speak quite often in metaphors and story form, and I talk about the myths and the legends and whatnot, and why I do not touch on modern things often, if ever. First of all, I just hate politics. I hate it. I don't care. I'm an anarchist. I'm non-political. I don't even know if I could say that word. Jesus Christ. What a screwed up time that I have to like think about my vocabulary. But let me just tell you, okay? I have all kinds of opinions, thoughts, reasonable things to point out and stuff when it comes to the stories that are being shared. But I'm not going to do that on this platform. Maybe another one, possibly, maybe my website or something. But not here. F that. Screw that. Okay? They say you don't bite the hand that feeds you. Okay? That doesn't make me less of a truth or anything. It makes me wise. But I will share, I do feel pretty safe talking about this picture where they allegedly caught the bullet. What the hell are you doing, TV? Man, I hate technology. Go back. What is going on? I swear, every time. Hold on, give me a second. I use this TV for light. See, as you can clearly see, it's all spooky now. I mean, I kind of like it, actually. I like the spooky look. But, you know, I'm trying to be, like, semi-professional. All right, hold on. Let me put this light. It's a video of, like, the beach that I use. Where is it? I have it on my saved music playlist. I have this music playlist it's sweet. I'm going to share it with you guys sometime. All right, come on. Put that light back up there. Yay. Okay, sweet. The light's back on. All right, and let me talk about this. Listen. They say this is the bullet, okay? Listen. You have to have a special kind of camera to take a picture of a friggin' bullet flying through the air. First of all. Secondly, I played all of the rally from beginning to end, or, you know, to where they, you know, it's like 15 minutes. I played all of it looking for this pose right when he was doing that. At this exact moment, let me tell you the sequence of events. I'm just going to share this, okay? You heard the first pop. After you hear the first pop, that's when you see this picture. That means that sound would had to have traveled faster than the bullet, faster than that, okay? Watch it yourself and pay attention to the little things, okay? There's a pop, then there's this, okay? Watch, you can see by where he's putting his hand on the podium. This allegedly is right when he's transitioning from his hand on the podium to reaching over and touching his head. Okay? I feel like this is JFK all over again. Anyways, so hands on the podium, pop. And then the picture. And then the ear touch. Okay, that what I'm telling you right now is that this had to have been traveling or the speed of sound would had to have been in front of the bullet, and that's not how that works. Okay? The sound is behind a bullet. It's not in front of it. That's not how it works. Anyways, that's all I really wanted to point out. So this is not a picture of what it says or what people say that this is. I'm not convinced. And I'm not trying to convince you either. I'm just sharing my line of thought with you on this one particular topic. Let me share with I asked ChatGPT. I'm like, hey, can these types of cameras take a picture of a bullet midair? Under normal circumstances, even high-end DSLR or mirrorless cameras used by professional photographers at events like presidential rallies would struggle to capture a clear image of a bullet in flight. Bullets travel at speeds much too fast for the typical shutter speeds and frame rates of these cameras. And then it goes into the specifics of it, which you can pause the video, I guess, and read if you want to. And then, in conclusion, under normal circumstances, like regular presidential rallies and whatnot, the cameras and equipment used by photographers at events such as presidential rallies are not designed to capture images of bullets in mid-flight due to extreme speeds involved. Specialized high-speed cameras and techniques are necessary to achieve such a feat. So I asked it, well, would it be blurry? Like if they caught it at that exact microsecond, happened to just click it right there, or would it be invisible? What does it say? In normal photography conditions, a bullet would most likely appear invisible. You wouldn't even be able to see it. So I just wanted to share that. I will tell you now, I wish I could talk more. Okay? I wish I felt like I had the security and the confidence that like everything would be cool if I could just speak on all kinds of things. Okay? This is one of those hot topic deals. All right? Can't do it. Just like there's other things. Stuff that happened back in September a long time ago. God, man. Like that's one of my favorite subjects. Did you ever hear me talk about that? No. And people have left comments throughout the years like, man, you're still here, you're still around. Oh, all these other channels are being taken down. You know, this, that, and the other thing. Yeah. Listen to how they talk. Listen to the words they're using. Think about the algorithms. I jumped into someone's chat the other day and immediately I had a pop out message from AI. Tell me if that happens in my chat, by the way. AI is recording all of your conversations in the chats, and it was summarized what everyone's talking about. I'm sure you've seen this on Facebook. They do this on Facebook and stuff, I noticed. It reads, analyzes instantly what everyone is saying. It will tell you the general specifics, but don't you also think it's very much capable of taking your individual little comment and putting it off into a drawer somewhere and just kind of filing away, building little dossiers on people and screen names and stuff like that? I'm telling you right now, I'm being more careful because I have more to lose, you know, because I do this for a living. I'm being super careful about what I say in people's chats from now on, or comments that I leave. It's 1984. It's not 2024. And next year, it'll be 1984 again until it's not. And that's the apocalypse. All right, sweet. Well, that's pretty much all I had to share for today. Thanks for watching. I appreciate everybody. Thanks for all your support. Check out my website, JayDreamerZ.com. And my two books, Ancient Oblivion series, The Plasma Apocalypse, and Return to Hyperborea. They're both my favorite books. I love both of them very much. And they're really good. I don't know. Man, I need to make a commercial. Like, probably shouldn't endorse it when I'm feeling sick and stuff. But anyways, really good stuff. If you're interested in the plasma apocalypse, or if you're interested in the land at the North Pole, the Garden of Eden, Hyperborea, etc., and so on and so forth. I love you guys. Yeah, I'll see you next time. Until then, I'm JayDreamerZ saying good vibes and goodbye.
Cool.